everyone, welcome again to my channel. Today we have a very special guest. We have the fortune to have Elinor Stutz talking with us. Elinor is a CEO of Smooth Sales. She delivers inspirational keynotes at conference. She authored 3 books, international sellers like Nice Girls Do Get the Sales, Relationship Building That Get Results, They Get Results Higher, and the Wish 360 Business Development Process to Fuel Sales. So in a nutshell, Elinor is an amazing woman, highly achieved, and full of wisdom to share with us. I know these times can actually be a little bit overwhelming because of what's happening in the world, but we all have to keep positive and keep training and actually empowering ourselves to keep going and to get our business to the next level. So that's why we have today Elinor and Why Wisdom. So thank you so much for being here with us, Elinor.
Oh, I appreciate you having me as your guest today, Catalina. Thank you.
Well, thank you. No, thank you for being here. So you wrote the book, Nice Girls Do Get the Sales. What inspired you to write the book?
It's a funny story. I was a pioneer woman on otherwise all male sales teams and very badly treated. In fact, it was shameful. So once I decided to leave corporate behind and become an entrepreneur, I went to my first networking event. And upon announcing I was a sales trainer, 2 reactions came about. One, the men were doubled over with laughter, believing a woman couldn't possibly know enough about sales to be a trainer. And the other was the women running away, shrieking, thinking I was highly manipulative because of the old concept of salespeople. So someone kindly took me aside and said, you know, if you want to establish credibility, you have to write a book so that we believe you. And my phone wasn't ringing, obviously, so I took the time to write the book.
And then it became a bestseller. That's amazing.
It became an international bestseller. It translated into 4 languages and was featured in Time magazine. And I was on ABC TV News. Who knew? And what I did was I changed all the names, but I told those awful corporate sales stories in each chapter. People call it laugh out loud funny now, but at the time it was anything but funny. So in case you're wondering, this is what the cover of the book looks like.
That's amazing. And we're going to be including actually the link for the Amazon page for Elinor, so you can actually watch the video. Check the book, because I think it's such an amazing thing and amazing message that you're doing for women, because and this actually is going to lead to my next question is, what do you think, any piece of advice for women that are working on, let's say if you need to talk to your, your younger self, women that are working on male dominating industries, even if being an entrepreneur, sometimes you got into entrepreneurship and it's just a bunch you see in the networking events, all these guys, and then you feel kind of weird, they laugh at you. Like, what kind of advice you will give to these women that are trying to get through, to actually become maybe better at negotiate and be taken seriously?
Right. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to believe in yourself, never give up, know each day that you're making a little baby step forward from where you were the day before. And also know, as you become more advanced, that when people say that's a stupid idea, that's impossible, or that's ridiculous, the nastier it gets, the better the idea yours is. People are getting upset that you may advance beyond them. That's been my experience. So welcome the negativity. It took me a long time to learn this. Welcome it, listen to it, learn from it, but keep going forward and know that you're on the road to becoming successful.
That's amazing, because I think that's something I tell myself as well. If you're kind of what's it called, like getting some people upset, is because you're doing something right? Like it's
yes.
Or getting people uncomfortable, and it's okay being uncomfortable. And if you could do things different in your career, what do you think you would have done different?
Well, to tell you the truth, I think I would have questioned myself as much, but the question is okay because it's a type of analysis about, am I doing things right? Am I not? Because of all the heavy criticism I got, I used to do that a lot and I'd be stressed out. So try to eliminate the stress and know that when you're questioning yourself, you're doing the right thing because you're studying all the facts. And when you study and you're open to feedback, you're going to move forward. It may feel like you're going backwards, but you're actually going forwards. So I guess the advice is don't beat yourself up. Question yourself, but don't beat yourself up.
Do you have any technique, for example, when you get yourself, because I think it happens to a lot of us, we enter these loops, like I think a lot of us tend to overanalyze things, or it's like, oh, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, like you start getting in these loops in your head. Like, do you have any technique, or how do you actually get yourself out of your own head? Like when all these negativity starts happening, what do you do in those cases?
Yeah, when it feels like everything's falling apart and then your computer goes crazy, I just say, okay, it's a sign, leave it alone, go outside, enjoy the fresh air, go exercise, go into nature, do yoga, whatever puts your mind at peace, try to find that peace within you. And then at a later time, later that day or the next day, figure out where you left off, what a better route is, and then go to it. And I have to tell you, just recently, I signed up for an advanced SEO system. I installed it, but I couldn't get it up, and I was going crazy, and it wasn't cheap. So I finally asked the service provider, I said, look, I'm not a technical person. I don't know how to get it up and running. I need help, or I need a refund on my money. And within a few days it was up and it's running beautifully.
So I guess it's asking for help, because I think a lot of women fall for that. Is like we feel that if we ask for help, we are not being there's something wrong with us. I guess kind of that's what it is. Is like, if you need help, just ask for help. That's okay. It doesn't make you.
I became accustomed to it. I joke with people now. I say I have no technical capability whatsoever. I'm the creative type. So if we can work together on this, it'll be helpful for both of us.
And Elinor, so you have an extensive experience as a salesperson. So as an entrepreneur, we need to become really good at selling. That's what we do.
Yes.
Any tips that you have for entrepreneurs? We have smaller budgets. Maybe the team is just me and another person. Any tips or any you have for us to become better at selling?
You won't believe this. The whole thing is don't sell.
Interesting.
Listen, ask questions. And then if you don't understand, ask people to clarify what they're saying. By admitting you don't understand, that builds trust in you. And people want trust and credibility before they'll ever consider buying from you. And then keep asking questions so that you understand more. You know their history, where they came from, where they're intending to go. And then when ideas come to you for what you have to sell to them, you know it'll work. Don't say, hey, I've got this great idea for you. Instead ask, have you ever considered? You do it through questions.
Okay.
And then when they say, well, why would you suggest that? Well, I was just thinking about what you just said to me, and you use some of their vocabulary. And then say, so the thought came to me that this may be a good idea, and here's why. What do you think? And put it back in their camp and let them answer the question. And that's how I call it a friendly negotiation, with a question and answer and the listening and the clarifying. Before you know it, you're almost through the sales cycle, and there's really no hardcore negotiation involved at all. It's just a give and take conversation.
Okay, and this is actually extremely important and very valuable, because a lot of us are new at sales, or we have that concept that sales is just like very aggressive. You have to go after people. It's like, no, it's like use your natural kind of instincts of being a good listener, answering questions, by having a kind of like a focus of where you want to take the conversation. It's kind of like that, right? Like it's just use your own self, right?
Exactly. And try to get into the person's mindset too. And when you're going in, say you're going to a corporation or some kind of formal meeting, have some small talk first. Try to look at pictures or messaging that they have in the office, or pictures of family or pets, and say something about it before you ever get into the business portion. My favorite story about that is I once went into a well-known city office, and I was told I was wasting my time. I would never get the sale. They're just sold on, our competitors' equipment. And I went into this guy's office. It was in the basement. There was nothing nice about it, let me tell you. And no pictures or anything, except when I got in front of his desk, I saw a picture of his horse. And I didn't know what to say. So I asked, "What's the name of your horse?" And for half an hour, he talked about that horse like it was his son, and how he planned to retire on a farm.
Oh.
And all the things he planned to do with that horse and other horses. By the end of the conversation, I had the city as my new client.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was amazing. No one could believe it.
I guess it's also a reminder, remembering that when you're selling it, people are still people.
Yes.
And then connecting to that, what's it called? The humanity of them, and of that is quite easy for a woman to do, right?
Right. It's about connecting with your heart and your mind, sharing stories. I learned that from a public speaking class. I was scared to death to meet with executives initially. By the third month, I took a public speaking class.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid that first night to announce my name. By the end of the class, I was the grand prize winner because I ate it up. But I learned that you talk professionally, personally first. Try to find some kind of commonality, share stories. If somebody says something and it reminds you of an experience you had, stop the conversation when it's your turn and share your experience. And then it goes off track, but then you bring the conversation back after everybody gets their experiences out. And it's a much better business conversation when you continue.
Okay, that's very interesting because, like I said, and this is also coming from me, and this is why I was so interested in talking to you, because when I started, I was like, oh my God, the networking events, I hate them, and sales, it's like, I don't know, like I felt like I had to go through door, like that kind of very direct sales. But as I've been learning, it's about that human experience, that connection, and it's not to know, and having your book, for example, Nice Girls Do Get the Sales, because that's all feedback that I have, and I've seen a lot of nice girls being very successful with their businesses. So I was like, how do you do that? I thought I had to be like, convert myself into the male version of me, or what I thought was the male version of me, in order to succeed. So that was actually super interesting to see, and that you have a book about it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. May I tell you one other story?
Please. I love stories.
It illustrates what you just said. My first job, the men were really nasty toward me. And we were in a team meeting. It was only a couple months into it, so I knew almost nothing about sales. The manager said, I was selling business equipment at the time, copiers and printers. And the manager said, we're going to comprise a letter together. Everybody has to put in a paragraph in a letter that will go out to all our prospects about the benefits of our machinery and why it's better than that of our competitors. And I said, can you tell me who on earth would read that? That didn't go over very well. Anyways, we were supposed to get the names and addresses of all our prospects together, 200 each, and bring them in the next morning. And we were going to address envelopes and send the letter out. He would print out all the letters. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, and I left. On the way home, I stopped at a card shop, and I found a really funny card, and it was a picture of a beach with beach towels on it, an umbrella, people in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And inside it that night, I wrote, while you're away on vacation, I'll be happy to take care of anything that your company may need. Here's my name, my phone number, just call me. So I sent those out that the next morning before I entered the office.
Mm-hmm.
And I come in, the manager says, where's your list? What have you done? Why aren't you writing the envelopes like everyone else? So I repeated back his words, which is a sales technique. You told me the most valuable time of the day is the morning when we are to, meet with prospects and call them or knock on doors. And so I'm using that valuable time to go see them. I did it all the night before, and I mailed the letters before. I mailed everything before. So he was furious. Anyways, over the next week, guess what happened? There were 6 men on the team, 0 phone calls. I got 8 phone calls.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
At the end of the week, the manager said, okay, come clean. What did you do? I said up front, no one's going to read that letter. You have to catch the attention of the prospect. If you want to sell something, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the prospect. And that way you'll have a much better chance for moving forward. What are they interested in?
That's amazing. But you know what? I one thing that I really like about this story is that you follow your intuition on what you thought was the right thing.
Right.
And it's about, what, like you're saying, like, what is that? Put yourself in their shoes. Use empathy, which is actually quite comes naturally to us as well. And it's like, okay, as empathy, this is what we're gonna go. So thank you so much for sharing that story, because it's amazing. It's amazing. And I see, like, you being a successful woman as well, and seeing other successful women in business that just being themselves.
Yeah, be yourself and stick up for what you know to be right. Don't succumb because it's expected of you. I always fought the system. And it worked for me. I mean, you have to be a little brave. You may get tossed out, but nevertheless, you're doing what's right for yourself. You have to be your authentic self, and you have to do what's right for your clientele.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. Any last maybe piece of advice that you want to leave our audience with?
Yes, I'm a rare survivor of a broken neck. I wasn't supposed to survive. I had a near-death experience. And after all of it, well, the surgeon let me know that my best case outlook would be paralysis. And I'm thinking, best case? What he's really saying, he doesn't expect me to survive. So I let him know in uncertain terms that I expect to be well. At any rate, after the entire experience was over and the staff referred to me as a walking miracle, my tagline became believe, become, empower. And the short version of this story is it was a near-death experience, and in it I saw I was to give back to communities, and being the professional salesperson and negotiator, negotiated that I would begin giving back to communities, but the only way I could would be with complete healing. So it's a longer story, but with that tagline came the ultimate vision. Believe you can do it, become that person, turn around and empower others to do the same, teach them how. So it's kind of like the quiet leader pushing people up the mountain.
Oh, that's amazing.
And helping them succeed.
Oh, thank you so much. And we thank you for that. Thank you for being here too, because that you actually sharing your wisdom and sharing your stories and everything that you've done today has helped me and the people watching find inspiration, to keep going, to find strength on when things get a little bit difficult, and to trust yourself and be okay being, yourself, being a nice girl. And also, I go back to that because I was always being like flagged like that, and I was like, but how can I, as a nice girl, succeed? I have a lot of dreams and I have a lot of, like an ambition, but I'm a nice girl. So is that mutually exclusive? But it is not. So that's such a powerful message. So thank you so much. And for keep going and going back to the community and giving back. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate being your guest and your time today.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching. And remember, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'm going to be including the link for Elinor's video, book here in the description of the video. Go and check it out. If you're a nice girl, a nice boy, go and read it, because your true self, your beautiful self, your connection, that is actually going to give you an edge on a society that somehow has thought that being like this rough and tough is a way to win, but it's not. It's just you being you. So anyways, remember to subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.